So the norm then was that every good student will become a medical doctor. It was just generally accepted. But I knew, and all my colleagues knew, that I wasn't going that path at all because I didn't so much like biology. But what I really wanted to do at that stage, as I was science student, was not really ICT. I was keen about petroleum engineering then. Why? It was later I realized that my concern was really the economic gains, oil money, and I was interested in it. But as God will have it, I had a change after the secondary school. And I just discovered that this is what I was made for. I think God led me. It was around that time I gave my life to Jesus, just at the nick of leaving secondary school. And God took over the guidance of my life and just led me to that university, which was not too popular then. And I didn't have two choices. I just knew it was computer engineering and software in particular. We'll talk more about it maybe because of time. Yes, so the point I want to make here is, yes, it is good to have a general direction, but one might not be in a hurry to say this is what I'm going to pick, because sometimes you don't have all the information, you don't have all the parameters with which to take that decision at some stage in life. Like then, my choice of petroleum engineering was money. Just knew when you go to oil industry, you make money. But over time, I've seen that what I can do most is what I'm doing now. Thank you.
Sir, what were some great challenges that made you think of quitting as you aspired to be an ICT expert, and how did you cope with them?
Yeah, thank you. Well, quitting was not really an option because I knew I just had to be better than my parents and better than where I was. So I would say part of the major challenge was financial, because going to school was not easy. I was traveling from the middle belt to this part where I've never been before. But when you face challenges are to be met and you overcome them. That's when you become a champion. So quitting was not an option at all. We faced it. I began to sponsor myself right from, I think, my second year in the university, and was not taking much from my parents any longer because I knew, well, the resources were not really there. So I had to begin to think of how to use what I was doing to raise some funds. I remember vividly how I had to travel to Lagos severally, put computers together for people those days when desktops were commonplace. The God factor was there, gave me favor. People trusted me with their money to do that. And then early in my third year, I began to write programs. I may tell you a bit about that. Because when I was talking about ICT, remember I talked about devices, okay? And when we talk about devices, your mind goes to the physical ones you see. But you see, there's a big world that you don't see. And that's the software. And that's what powers the physical devices. See yourself carry a phone, for instance, that has the battery, has everything, but it's not showing anything. Is it useful? It's meaningless, just dead. So what brings all those things you see inside is the software. You don't see it. So I began to do that in my little way, sell software to people, get money. So there were challenges, mostly financial, but we were able to overcome them, and we sailed through. So no matter the challenge, anybody can sail through with determination and trust in God. Yes, those were some of the challenges. And then another challenge I could see is the fact that then some of these things were new. And our teachers and lecturers were like our all in all. And you had no internet to go look for things. It wasn't that open, you know. And then it all boils down to finances anyway. The fact that you don't have the facilities, you have to make do. I remember then in our laboratories, we had just very few computers, and we had to take turns to use them and all that. Those were challenges, but it made us not to be lazy all the same. So those were the few challenges I could remember. And challenges will keep coming, because even when I got into the business world, there were challenges. But thank God we've sailed through till now. Yeah.
As an ICT expert, how will you advise children to explore their dreams using ICT?
Yeah. Yes. ICT very good. But in advising children to use it to fulfill their dreams, I want to start by saying, number one, that dream does not necessarily have to be ICT only. You have a dream to become a doctor, the one I talked about before, you want to become another kind of engineer, it's fine. You can use ICT as a tool, because it's a tool that all these other professionals use. But I want to sound a note of warning to children too, because the ICT space too could be so captivating that you may lose sight of your main goal, especially if you are not frontline ICT. You are not really you are only using ICT in your own field. You will see that it becomes a tool, not something you just spend your time on. There are children today who no longer read, because they feel everything is from all these devices and all that. And the reading culture is going. Those days we used to talk of how many novels, how many stories you read, how many things you've done. But today, what children do most times is spend much time on computer games that, may develop your IQ a little, but you would have lost information gathering, which you get from rereading. So I would advise them, yes, embrace ICT. We encourage you to use ICT, but do not make it a mainstay, because it can distract you. It can distract you from what you want. So still be objective. If you want to go the ICT front line, be careful not to be a jack of all trades, because it's a big stream. We have different roles. We call them roles. Like I told you, from what I've been telling you now, you see that I'm more of a software person. It doesn't mean I don't know hardware a little, I don't know interconnectivity. Those are some aspects of ICT that we may talk about. So, but be focused in what you are doing. Because as I usually tell people, it's like those days, I don't know if you people have it now, but those days we used to buy small magnifying, glasses. There's this glass that focuses light rays. We'll go and buy them. It was risky then though. We'll put it up and allow sun rays to focus on a piece of paper.